Hello, Kachats! Thank you for taking the time to have another chat with me. And this time, we've got some awesome company. Welcome to the KJ Teacher channel. On our last episode, we kicked off our talk about surrender, and I must say that the response was so much more than what I expected. And it's not about the number of views or likes or even the fact that before that premiere ended, I finally reached 1,000 YouTube subscribers, for which I am deeply grateful to you all. I was even more moved actually by the fact that there are people who reached out to me through comments and personal messages to let me know how much that episode helped and inspired them, and some even had a good cry from it. Uh, that is what the KJ Conversations is all about. People drawing motivation and inspiration and learning from each other. That is why I would like to thank you all so much for sharing this journey with me. And I would love you to always remember that you are not alone in this. And speaking of not alone, in this episode of the KJ Conversations, I am not alone because I will be joined by two of my dearest friends, Pat and Check, as we continue to talk about surrender on episode 3 entitled Letting Go of Expectations. So you have to introduce yourself. So pagalingan. Ay, contest
Ay,
pala. Pagalingan. Hindi,
resolution
i-introduce nyo lang yung
2025.
sarili nyo in a way na besides being teacher, who are you? Yan ang question.
Okay, my name is Jeric. Um, Aside from teaching, I love photography. I love photography. I enjoy painting. Um, I also love writing. Writing is, for me, the best way, personally, to express um, what I feel. And through writing, I get to identify na, okay, this is how I felt pala. I learned from Taylor Swift so much. Um,
Yeah, Swifties.
sobrang word choices, yung options, yung words na ginagamit niya, talagang pick for that specific line. And I just love doing that. I spend hours thinking of a good caption for a photo because I wanted to pick the right words.
Okay, hi everyone, I'm Patty. So aside from being a teacher, I also paint. That's what I actually usually do. I paint or I sketch. I'm not good at photography, but I love looking at good photos. And then I love writing, but currently I am not writing. So what I do is I collect good lines. So I am fond of good lines. So I have parang I have a green, alam mo yun, green light when I hear a good line or I read a good line.
Sabi ko kasi in my intro, parang you are two of my dearest friends. Okay. So maybe they don't know kung bakit tayo naging friends. Pat, how did you become friends with Chick?
Okay, we first met in college because of PNU Debate Society. And then we had shared events like yan, nag-shooter kami together, tapos nag-host kami ng mga university-wide events. At
Oo nga.
what's very interesting is sumakay kami sa taxi na inaantok yung driver. Tapos tawa kami ng tawa kasi feeling na mamamatay na kami sa taxi.
Yeah.
Okay. Na parang kami rin yung host during that time. Kami rin pinaghatid ng speaker.
Kasi kami yung gumawa ng layout ng event, kami na yung yung sumundo ng speaker.
Tapos,
Oh my gosh.
matutulog yung driver. Ayan, pero dahil mas matatanda na tayo ngayon at mag-29 na tayo this year.
Oh my
yung
gosh!
feeling ko yung friendship talaga namin ni Jeric ay nag-reconnect kami. Feeling ko 2018 yun, when he started writing stories. Tapos from then on, we continued communicating. So now, I think I know Jeric on a deeper level. A deeper appreciation of his presence.
Okay.
I think nagkaroon kami ng peak yung friendship natin. I think 2019 or 2020.
Gusto ko yung mga years.
Yeah.
Oo, hindi kasi na, yun yung parang I would say, yung nag-open up ako sa about something personal. Tapos parang after a couple of weeks, I think, nag-ano ka na rin. You told me something personal about you. Kasi sabi mo you felt like, you're not giving me the same amount of, ay parang you're not giving me the same amount of trust that I'm giving you with certain information. So I think that was it. Kasi that was the time na nag-start tayong tumawag ng mga 11 p.m. until 3 a.m.
Uh-huh.
Diba?
Oh, that's
Tapos,
true.
yeah, that's true. Tapos, I think since then, I like it kasi meron tayong, parang we have the same wavelength na after calling, we're not going to message each other for like a week or 2 weeks. Kasi parang binuhos natin lahat ng stories natin.
Dati na in-explain ko kay Jeric na na parang kapag hindi ako nag-share about my family, ibig sabihin hindi pa tayo super friends. Ano mo ba yun?
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Sinabi ko yun sa'yo, diba, na yung highest level sa akin ng friendship kapag nakapag-share na ako sa'yo about my family because to me, it's very personal.
Yeah.
Tapos may mga time na ngayon na umiiyak ako. Ano lang.
Oo, may
So,
mga
yun,
iyakan.
yung that kind of trust. Kasi if I tell you something about my family, I trust you so much.
Ikaw naman, can you tell how you became friends with me?
Naalala ko na we talked about this before. Meron akong sinabi sa iyo nung first year college pala, magkakalala na tayo. Tapos meron akong comment about your English yata. Picky din ako when it comes to people. And you're one of those people na feeling ko you'll understand my humor, for example. So, we started with a really huge group sa college. As in like around 10, 15 members.
Yeah.
Tapos, syempre, eventually, makikita yung differences ng isa't isa. So,
Correct.
saan na workout hanggang sa kumonte ng kumonte. Okay. Sabi ko sa tayo umuwi, di ba? Nakatira ako sa nakatira ka sa mas malayo doon. So, every day, ang ganda na yung friendship natin. It flourished, I think. Dahil nag-aantayan tayo, kahit magkakahiwalay na tayo ng section from second year to fourth year. Tapos kahit, kunyari mas maaga yung uwi mo mga 4 o'clock or 5:30, antayin mo yung 7 o'clock na uwian para na magkakasabay sa jeep. Tapos, gonna say yung random memories na naalala ko, bigla siyang nag-flash lahat sa mind ko. Naalala mo yung time na wala tayong masakyan kasi umuulan, so naglakad tayo hanggang Pure Gold yata from PNU. Naglakad tayo kasi walang sasakyan and parang hindi siya nakakapagod kasi comfortable when it comes to conversation or even with the silent. I think that's a good thing with friendship na you don't always have to talk pero you're comfortable with the silence that they're giving you. Tapos, another one is we talked about religion. Tayong dalawa lang yung magkasama sa jeep na yon. And if you don't know, guys, si Kat, anak siya ng pastors. So, di ba born again Christian ka? Tama, di ba? Born again Christian. Tapos ako naman born and raised Catholic. So, we have the same beliefs, I would say. Pero we have different ways of practicing it. Pero when we had that talk, ang kapal na mukha natin, sa jeep pa tayo parang nag-usap ng about
nasa dulo tayo lagi di ba yun sa may baba.
Pero walang awkwardness, siguro kasi we're both not pushy when it comes to our beliefs. Parang yung boundaries, how to respect. Like ilang years na since tayo nagkakalala? 2010, no?
2010. Oo, 2010.
Oh 12
years na tayong friends.
No, when you get to reach this age, tapos you still have these constant people that you knew from the past, it's very rare. Like, not being pretentious about it. Kasi diba, sometimes for others, I feel na you just have to carry the name of the group, for example. Yung click mo.
May pilit
parang,
na feeling.
It's nice to have a little bit of reunion, pero I think with you, it's more of a personal friendship, more than yung group friendship natin. Diba? Kasi we're comfortable. Parang you're one of the few people that I always choose to meet whenever I go home.
Aww. Kilig naman yun. So kami naman ni
Okay.
Pat, paano ba tayo naging magkaibigan? Nagsimula tayo sa HC.
Kilala
Diba?
ko na si Kat bago pa siya pumasok ng HC.
Yun nga, yan yung weird eh. Kasi
Alam mo bakit?
stalker ko si Pat. Joke.
Ano yan? Oo, kasi 'di ba pares tayong top 1 sa PNU Watt.
Mm-mm.
Tapos si Kat, 'di ba dumating ka at a later time na ba?
Parang 1
Ng
week after.
HC. Oo, basta parang may HC na tapos
Mm-mm.
dumating si Kat. So parang everybody's talking about, oh, yung isa pang top 1, she's coming here as well. Tapos parang, oh my God, I'm scared.
Ang naalala kong, nabanggit ko na to sa'yo, Pat, before, na yung unang moment of interaction natin. Kasi nga, late akong pumasok sa HC, siguro 1 week. Nakapag-distribute na ng lahat ng i-report, di ba? You know naman, the reportings. So, kapag-distribute ng lahat, ang hindi na lang nabibigay yung topic number 1, parang sa isang class. Kakapasok pa lang namin, magre-report na kami. So, anyway, nag-report, ganyan. Tapos, after my reporting, lumapit sa akin si Patty. Tapos, she told me na parang, she complimented me about my performance in the reporting.
Alam mo na kung bakit magkaibigan kami ni
Basta.
Jeric.
Oo. So,
We're
yung mga
the same
first moments
people.
nyo sa akin, kinompliment nyo ako. Fairness.
Pero
Oo.
may difference eh. Ako, I didn't see you as
Kaya naman.
competition. I don't know if genuine yung ginawa ni Patty or
Hoy,
meron
I
siyang...
was genuine. I remember that
Feeling ko she
moment.
was checking me out. Like, paano kayo magre-respond tong babae na to? Joke.
Hindi, I was trying to be a good person.
You were trying to be a good
Hindi
person.
tinatry ko na not to, alam mo yung one way to overcome that is to
Kinonfront mo na lang.
confront it na parang, oh, this person is really good. That's what I
Uy,
did.
that's nice. Yung
So,
parang when you feel threatened, tapos when you complimented her kasi you saw something good in her. So that's what you wanted to
that's like my
to
antidote
sarili
to my
mo.
own self.
Yung perception mo about her instead na I see her as my competition.
Tapos sabi niya magaling nga. Tapos I said thank you nung after you complimented me. Tapos parang weeks after, nung medyo comfortable na tayo in the class, parang you told me na okay lang pala na mag-thank you pag kinompliment. Parang that's one of the comments that you told me. Na kasi ikaw, usually kapag kino-compliment ka, you would shy away from the compliment. Pero hindi pala mayabang kapag nag-thank you ka. Parang nabanggit ko to sa'yo, Pat, na before then, I felt like you were a very scary person sa HC. Kasi parang, hindi because you're a threat, pero sobrang talino lang kasi talaga niya. Alam mo parang, pwede ba huwag ka masyado matalino? Pwede ba huwag masyado mong taasan yung mga test or something like that? Super scary. Tapos she's a good writer, she's a good speaker and everything. So she's just so scary. But also, parang, it didn't mean nga na hindi ko na siya i-friend. Parang, it's all the more reason na dapat i-friend ko to. Because you're a sum of the people you spend time with.
Okay.
Pero ito,
Yes.
mag-agree ba kayo sa akin if I say na itong tayong tatlo na yung deep conversations and everything, nag-start to nung June 2021. Kasi kayong dalawa, meron na kayong mga conversations even before that. Na hindi ako nakakasama kasi para sa kaalaman ng lahat, tita po. Ako yung pinaka-tita dito. Yung mga alas 9 pa lang tulog na, silang dalawa, 11, nagsa-start ng conversation. So, hindi nila ako naisasama madalas. So, yung mga mahahabang usapan natin, kapag magkakasama lang tayo, yung nag-iyakan tayo from 3 p.m. hanggang gabi na yun. Di ba? Anong oras na tayo natulog? So, pero, what I love about this friendship, tsaka yung mga friendships din na meron ako ngayon, I don't know if it's the same with you, sobrang low maintenance. Alam niyo yung low maintenance na friendships? Yung katulad nga yung sabi mo kanina, parang you could go on not talking for weeks and months on end, pero kapag nag-usap kayo, parang you picked up exactly where you live. Yung parang walang nag-pass na oras. Ganon, parang may open understanding na hindi natin kailangan maging sobrang clingy sa isa't isa. Ganon din ba yung mga current friendships?
Same. Pero usually ako yung hindi nagpaparamdam. Pero I'm so grateful na my friends never judge me for being Mia. Pero ganun, parang mature na. Tapos may mga times na Parang ginagawa na lang nilang joke.
Isa sa mga standards ko to know, I think it applies kung, I don't know, siguro sa other people. If, for you to know if you're really friends with these people, like on a deeper kind of sense ng friendship. Kasi I'm friends with a lot of people. Pero when they start with this line na, uy, kamusta na? I don't think, I don't think you asked me that or I asked you that. Parang diretso ka na agad sa kwento mo na, parang, be, si nag-message.
Oo, tama yan. Oo, totoo yan.
Chismis agad.
Along that line, I feel like nung mga nakaraan na conversations natin, one of the center points na mga pinag-uusapan natin is yung expectations. Kasi 'di ba, a sign of maturity is you letting go or yun nga, removing your expectations on let's start with people. So ano yung mga kinds of expectations na meron kayo dati sa mga tao na you had to let go?
Classic example is
Mm-mm.
when they don't greet me on my birthday, I also don't greet them on their birthdays. Before, I have
Okay. Gets.
before I have to say college. College, high school. Kasi Friendster, Facebook.
Yeah,
So,
oo.
there. Tapos parang when they don't greet you, for example, they just like your photo. Tapos friends naman kayo. Tapos they didn't even bother greeting you. Parang sabi, manda ka sa birthday, hindi kita babalik sa birthday. One of the things na parang nalet go ko na, kasi I think when you want to greet someone, even if they didn't greet your birthday, parang if you're genuine about it, greet them. Parang, it doesn't have to be about you all the time. It doesn't have to be about me all the time.
So, nakwento ko nito kay Jarek. Pero yung love language ko kasi is acts of service. So, parang ako yung type na pag may pinapagawa sa akin o kaya may request na ganyan. Tsaka I think quality time too. So, parang na-hurt ako ng sobra kapag dinedecline yung request ko. Kasi before, parang ako yung type na hanggat kaya ko siya i-squeeze in sa schedule ko, I'm gonna do that for you. Kasi yun yung love language ko. So I'll do that for you. Pero yung mga ibang tao, when kunwari they say no, even yung mga littlest things, tapos I would think na why can't you do that for me when I do it for you? I'd always consider it. Parang doing it for you despite kunwari mag-disadvantage. So, kaya nakakapagod kasi isisingin ko lang sa schedule ko. Tapos yan. Pero now, I think very recent lang din naman yung mga ganong realizations na when you do something for others, example me, yung love language ko service, you shouldn't be expecting that other people would do the same for you. Kasi they might actually return, parang you shouldn't be expecting a return eh. Kasi diba that's your act of love. So parang you shouldn't be expecting na he or she would also do the same for you.
I feel like similar tayo dyan. Yung sa akin kasi, yung I stopped expecting people to act in the same way that I would in general. Yung halimbawa, when it comes to work, halimbawa na yung level of, for example, hindi man excellence, pero yung kind of work na I put out there. Tapos pag makakita ko ng someone else who based on my standards, substandard siya. Tapos parang I feel bad kasi parang I'm putting so much effort on this one, tas you put just that little effort, tas parehas lang tayo. Parang ka-level lang tayo. Parang ganun. May ganun akong feelings before. Or kapag may conversations, halimbawa, and I expect people to understand yung context of this conversation based on how I'm understanding it. Pero kasi nakakalimutan ko minsan na each mind is completely different. Yung parang magkakaiba tayo ng experiences, ng feelings at the moment, yung mga ganyang bagay, background and all those things. So I cannot expect people to think in the same way that I do. So, nagta-translate siya to me right now kasi I became, I think, more open sa communication. Kasi dati, I assume na they understand me. Kasi parang feeling ko, dapat parehas tayo eh. Parang basic to, dapat may alam mo na to. Pero hindi pala lahat ng tao alam yung alam mo or nafe-feel yung na-feel mo. So, you have to communicate it.
I think, na-let go ko yung expectation ko. I assume na people have expectations sa akin. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. Oo. Oo.
Parang, for example, I have before I used to please people.
Ooh.
Because I'm scared of so many things na I'm not going to detail here. So I try to become the person that I think they want them to be at that specific situation.
Mm.
So for example, if I always have to be funny all the time, I always have to make jokes all the time, or I always have to say bad things about people because that's funny for them. Pero I think with the right people, I became more genuine. Na if I wanna feel bad, I just feel bad, and I don't have to act another person. So I think I stopped involving myself if I feel na I think they have an expectation sa akin. Kasi at the end of the day, it's just me
Correct.
assuming na meron silang expectation sa akin because I want to please
Mm-mm.
them, I think. So I think inner work siya na I have to change that belief system so that I don't have to feel any pressure even though there's no pressure at all na binibigay.
Mm.
It's just me. Binibigay ko siya sa sarili.
You would think about other people less when you realize na they are possibly not even thinking about you. Like, madalas iniisip
Yeah.
natin na what if they say this? What if people
I
think
don't
Yeah.
it's
care.
bad? What if
Yeah.
people say na
Mhm.
parang ang pangit ng or ng ginagawa ko ngayon? Tapos maiisip mo, they have their own lives. Baka nga wala silang time to think about you, 'di ba? So,
That's
why are
true.
you
That's true.
Oo, 'di ba? Why are you giving
Stressing
so
about.
much time thinking about what they're thinking when baka nga wala silang time to think about you?
Very petty, pero kasi dahil nga gano'n akong tao na parang kapag may nag-chat sa akin, magre-reply ako agad kasi ang inisip ko baka nakikita niya na delivered na yung message tapos di ako nagre-reply. Tapos dahil super overthinker ako, for those people out there who are also overthinkers, like, pag hindi nag-reply sa akin yung tao, aalalahanin ko yung last moment namin together. And I would go through our conversation, hindi sa chat, like parang aalalahanin ko siya, may sinabi ba akong mali? O kaya, maybe I offended this person sa ganitong,
Mm.
kanari ganun. Ganun ako dati, when I was younger. But
So,
now,
you will analyze
parang,
where it went wrong
oo,
kaya
parang,
nagkaganon.
tapos at the end of the day, ng reflection ko, ang laging pinpoint is may nagkamali ka. Siguro you made this person feel bad.
Ikaw din ba check you would call yourself an overthinker?
Very much so.
Very
Oh, I
much
think
so.
Ako
parang
yung
even
person.
family members, like with anyone, pag feeling ko naka-offend ako, I punish myself. Parang blaming myself until I fall asleep na may nasabi akong mali. Pero when I ask palagi, for example, the following day, parang hindi naman pala significant yung sinabi ko. It didn't even offend anyone. It didn't give me peace, yung mga bagay na yun. So, parang if, for example, that happened again, I would I would apologize to the person. Para lang, at least I don't have to think about it. If I felt
Mm-mm.
na I did if I said something bad or my action wasn't nice, parang I would approach the person. Tapos, I think from there, I'd get peace na.
How do you let go naman of situations, expectations on certain situations? Meron bang mga specific life events that happened to you na you had to let go of your control of those things?
Pero I think we have to go back as a repeater. We have to go back sa word itself, na letting go. I think
Mm.
nagkaroon na siya ng negative connotation, negative definition, that when you let go, it's like you're letting go of everything and you have to start all over again. But I don't think that's what letting go is. I think letting go means accepting where you are right now, who you are right now, being very gentle with yourself na, for example, ito lang yung kaya ko, and I'm just here right now. And what we're letting go are actually yung negative beliefs that we have about ourselves, about other people. We're letting go yung jealousy, we're letting go yung expectation, we're letting go anything negative like yung fear or yung doubt. And once you do that, once you become okay with who you are right now, once you become okay with where you are right now, doesn't mean na you're not dreaming for anything else. Pero you're just okay right now. And when you get that dream, it makes you feel better. I think once you get to reach that point, um, I wouldn't say life's gonna be easier kasi there would still be problems. Pero
Definitely.
life would be more bearable. I have to say that. It's a very simple step, but it's not easy.
Mm-mm.
Parang that's how you do it. Pero you can't do it overnight. You really have to get to know yourself for that. So example that happened to me was nasa plane ako. So lilipad na ako. Tapos, pag economy ka pa, pag hindi ka masyado nagbayad ng plane ticket mo, um, dikit-dikit ka. Eh kasi di ba pandemic ngayon? So I
Uh-huh.
was assuming na one seat apart. Kasi nung naglalakad ako, natanggap ko na nasa business class, malaki yung space niya. Okay. Pero yung economy flex, like there are about siguro 100 seats. Tapos mga like around 10 people lang. So imagine the space, di ba? Tapos naglakad-lakad pa ako. Doon ako sa economy. Magkakadikit yung mga tao. Tapos pandemic. Kasi the last time na nag-plane ako, one seat apart. And nandun ako sa letter B. Sa letter B ako nalagay. So I thought wala akong katabi on both sides. Only to realize na meron dalawang lolo sa tabi ko. So, nung lumipad na yung plane, sabi ko, pagka dumating na yung signal na tatanggalin yung seatbelt, pwede nang tumayo. Pupunta agad ako dun sa flight attendant. So, nagpunta agad ako. Sabi ko, Miss, possible po ba na lumipat ako ng chair? Kasi meron namang vacant chair dun sa economy na seats. Hindi ako pupunta sa economy flex kasi hindi naman ako nagbayad for that. Tapos, ang sinabi niya sa akin, hindi raw pwede kasi for contact tracing. So, I have to sit down sa seat number ko talaga. So, sometimes when those kinds of situations happen to us, parang we try to give a solution to our problem. Magko-complain tayo, I'd make a scene, baka i-Facebook ko si ate, sabihin ko na pandemic ngayon, so dapat one seat apart. Pero I did not, for some reason. I just went back to my chair and then I told myself, this is where I am now. How can I make it better with what I have? So I think that's what letting go is. It's about acceptance ng situation mo and try to find other things that you have to make yourself feel better. So what I did was I watched a movie, if you're curious, Howl's Moving Castle. So 10 minutes into watching, lumapit si ate girl. Tapos sabi niya, sir, kayo po ba yung nag-ask kung pwedeng lumipat ng chair? Eh, meron ako nakikita sa harapan ko, middle aisle, okay na ako doon, kahit na hindi window seat. Although, ang gusto ko talaga window seat. Sabi niya, meron pong window seat sa likod niyo. Tapos, I don't know, like for some reason, nung inaccept ko na, I didn't feel bad na hindi ko nakuha yung gusto ko, pero I just accepted it. Parang nilet go ko yung expectation, for example. I like, it came to me nung when I felt okay, na this is where I am right now. Eh di, parang yung blessing, it came, you don't have to seek for it. It just comes for you. In surprising
Yeah.
ways. Tapos, even better with what you thought you wanted. So, it's a very minor example lang. Sobrang ano niya. Pero I think when you use that analogy sa bigger life events, I think it's gonna make sense.
Tama ka na analogy siya for grander things din. Like for me, example ko, kasi 'di ba lahat parang society would like give timelines, especially to girls. Alam ni Patty yan na parang there's parang this pressure na sorry naman Pat. Pero parang there's this parang pressure na like 25 like 25 dapat medyo kasal ka na niyan. Tapos
Medyo.
oo,
Yung
by
medyo
the
kasal.
time you're 30, parang you should have at least like one or two children already kasi parang kasi yung age mo, ganyan. But now, we're 29, we're almost 29, kasi hindi pa rin ako married. Diba, parang there was a time na parang I was really so pressured about it, na parang ang tagal na rin namin. I had feelings na it's so close but it's still parang so far. What's going on? Parang why is everything not falling into place according to my standards? Kasi nga yung standards ko based doon sa timeline na sinet ko for myself. But then, parang ito especially recently, parang I realized that I have to let go of the timeline. Because first of all, parang each person has a different timeline. And each, for example, relationship has its own alam mo yun, process of evolution. Alam mo yun, yung like you cannot force things to happen just because you want them to happen at a specific time. So halimbawa, now I'm so grateful for yung mga bagay na akala ko delay. Now I'm thankful for it kasi sabi ko sa sarili ko, if hindi na delay, halimbawa yung plan, I wouldn't have learned something itong bagay na to, or I wouldn't have matured into this kind of person na feeling ko kung nagpakasal na ako dati, baka hindi ko to alam. Baka hindi ko na kinailangang matutunan yung mga ganong klaseng bagay. Now that I'm allowing the relationship to run its course, I feel so much better. Na parang it's okay if it happens now, tomorrow, the next day, or a year from now. It doesn't matter. Kung ano yung, parang I need, parang ang mentality ko ngayon is, I would have to learn what I have to learn before it happens. Alam mo yun, I have to become what I have to become before that happens for me.
Ako naman, since you mentioned that too, I think the
Oo.
pressure is really real when you live in a society that dictates you what you should achieve at this point.
Mm.
Diba? Parang, siguro, not really on career, but I think yung pressure is really on yun nga yung parang being in a relationship because you're not getting any younger. Tapos, since we're 29 this year, guys. So, yan yung parang ganun. And I never, wala, yan, pero okay, that's not important. So, anyway, so yun yung
Ang gusto niya sabihin, no boyfriend siya since birth.
since birth. Okay, so,
Yeah.
whatever, right?
Hindi kasi di ba, Kat was being
Yeah.
pressured into getting married, only to realize there are people who are not even in relationships.
Correct.
Yeah,
Oo.
nagulo yung hair ko.
But it
Okay.
doesn't mean na you shouldn't invalidate your feelings kasi that's where you are right now. So you shouldn't
Yeah.
compare other people have it less. Don't feel bad about
Oo.
that.
Oh,
Yeah,
and
actually, that's what
also
I
I
would
should
like to
not namatay yung ilo. I should not feel good for other people's demise. Like parang ako, siya nga wala nga siyang jowa, so I should, hindi naman ganon. It's just that meron lang natural progression of things. Like kung
Yeah.
single ka, syempre yung natural progression mo is to not be single, or kung yun yung gusto mo. Diba?
Yeah.
Ako, hindi
Yeah.
na ako single.
You don't
So ang
have to
natural
explain it.
progression ko is to take the relationship to the next level. Ganon lang siya.
And then parang yun yung actually one of the 2 points I'd like to share. So yung first, syempre at my age, for those of you who are already turning 29 this year, still single, no boyfriend since birth, parang it's a difficult process to actually let go. Hindi naman sa letting go na parang okay, hindi na ako magkaka-boyfriend ever. Ganyan,
Oh, hindi naman giving up, letting go lang.
Actually, just recently ko lang siya, hindi naman recent, parang start na akong to have better mindset on that. Pero recently, it's so nice para to take care of yourself and not think of somebody else. So,
Definitely.
oo, tapos parang it's really nice na parang, okay, I'm gonna really take care of myself and feel beautiful every day. Ang arte-arte ko. Hindi parang,
Tama naman.
hindi, so parang to feel good about myself so that when he comes, okay, I'll be in my best best self. Let's shift the perspective. Kasi parang it's more on really paradigm shift na how do you look at these years of waiting? Parang are you just passively waiting? I don't think we should be passively waiting. We should be actively waiting in a sense that you're doing something good for yourself. Kasi these years you won't have these years again. So why not take care of yourself now? Diba parang, and do the things that you want to do.
Why do you have to wait for something to happen for you to feel good? Why not just feel good now? And when it
Correct.
arrives, it's gonna be a delightful added parang bonus, diba? You're gonna
Correct.
feel so
Oo.
better.
Yeah.
Pero I always have to say na I'm speaking sa privileged point of view. Kasi not everybody has this kind of life. I don't have all the things that I want. Pero other people have it worse. For example, I always acknowledge that. That's why I'm always grateful about what I have. Na I had education, I have a loving family, diba? And other people have it worse. So I just always wanted to put that out. Kasi we diba, other people might misunderstand us na parang we're acknowledging yung life that we have because not everybody has it.
Second point ko is, kasi I can't really think of a specific situation. Pero, aside from that, pero feeling ko, nag-reflect ako kanina when you asked the question, Kat. Ano ba yung mga situations na I find it difficult to let go? Usually, these are the situations when I think na I messed up. I have a very high expectation of myself. Yun, super high. very high yung very high yung expectation ko sa sarili ko na medyo I'm that type of person na it's a combination of being a perfectionist and a procrastinator. So, ang sama, di ba? Sama ng combination. Pero, I don't easily forgive myself when I commit a mistake. So, kunwari feeling ko it didn't reach my standard, yung anong ginawa ko, yung performance ko, ganyan. Pero what I do, since your question was, di ba, what do you do to let go of these situations? I forgive myself talaga. As in, I need a moment. Na parang, Patty, you were wrong. May ganun
May
moments I will
reflection.
really talk to myself and say na, Patty, sige na, tanggapin mo mali ka sa part na yun. Tapos, yun kapag feeling ko na-offend ako. Or kapag, okay, tanggapin mo na the performance wasn't good. Kasi feeling ko yung acceptance on, kasi di ba yung when you have a lot of expectations for parang of yourself, iisipin mo na hindi, I think I did well, ganyan. I think the conversation ends, you close the conversation with yourself when you finally tell yourself, you were wrong, and you messed up.
And it's
Parang,
okay.
you have to accept that.
Yeah, naalala ko yung sinabi mo,
Okay,
check dito. You had a story last month, nung huling kita natin, about yung facial wash. Was that? Yung nag-stick sa akin dun sa sinabi mo is, there are situations that happen, and then what you should do is just do your best in that situation. Parang do what you can, and then let it go. Yung parang kasi, after the actions that you do, you don't know kung ano yung magiging effect niya. You cannot control the effect of that. So just do your best during that situation, and then let things unfold the way they would. Diba? And hope for the best, okay? But if ever something bad will happen, ganun talaga, ganun yung situation. So, in words, it's very easy to say, pero when you are in that actual situation, ang daming layers ng thought bago mo ma-realize na, I have to let this go.
You have to be willing first.
Yeah, oo. And aware.
Kasi, aware. Yun yung muna, aware.
Hindi mo dapat i-judge yung sarili mo, Pat, dun sa mga panahon na kinakausap mo yung sarili mo kasi ganun din ako. Kinakausap mo din yung sarili mo. It helps you ground yourself, no? At times. Kaya
parang
I also journal eh. Oo, kaya kapag pinaprocess ko yung mga iniisip ko, I journal kasi kailangan kong kausapin yung sarili ko. Parang when I write it down, I parang it's like having a conversation with myself. Allows me to process my thoughts. Di ba ikaw, check, nag-journal ka din? Matagal ka na nag-journal eh, di ba?
Nag-journal ako, pero parang lately, effective sa akin yung sa mirror na when I talk to myself because I really see myself. And then I tell myself na parang I try to be a friend to myself. I really stand in front of a mirror. Parang I say na parang that's okay, that's fine. And parang sometimes you give yourself tough love pa na parang enough na yan, parang you can't do that anymore. It started really with me. I always tell myself that I have to be gentle with myself. Kasi I think there are so many things that I have to forget about my belief system, about myself. So parang I'm trying to take care of myself even more and being more gentle with it. Kasi I think parang I was aware na I was super fragile during the past few years. So how do you just handle that with care? Kaya yun. I journal, but I also talk to myself when I'm alone. Don't do it naman sa public kasi
Uy, it's okay.
Me too,
Baka
I do
may
that
mga
to
tao
myself.
na ginagawa din. Ginagawa ko din yun. May mga times na parang you feel down. Tapos parang you can't expect anyone to hype you up. So you have yourself to hype you up. Sometimes, in fairness, you did a great job today. Or like, today is a well-lived day. Parang, or, ikaw, marami kang nagawa today, ah. Parang, hindi naman masama na gawin mo yun. You're not crazy. It's just that sometimes, the friend that you need, yung katulad ng sabi check, is yourself sometimes,
Yourself.
di ba?
Yeah. Parang that's gonna be your best cheerleader. Kasi ako, I've been to one, two, three, parang so many quarantine hotels na. Imagine I've been spending myself with myself
Yeah.
for 10 days, 14 days alone for so many times. Tapos,
Mm-mm.
a lot of crazy things happen. I I dance alone. I talk to myself. Minsan sinasabi ko pa parang it's a crime to look this good. Parang police.
Totoo. Hype
Good.
yourself up. Yeah.
Hindi naman sa ano, 'di ba sabi mo Kat, parang when you're not having the best day, you do that. Ako, kapag feeling ko talaga nagkaganda na ako sa sarili ko. Sabi ko sa sarili, ganda mo ngayon. Tapos,
Oh, why
ako,
not?
why not? Basta, it makes me feel good.
Na parang we are our greatest critic. Pero we should also be our own best friend. Yung parang we should shift yung voice in our head from being the critic to being a friend. Like sasabihin mo ba, halimbawa, meron kang friend na merong problema, would you say the same things that you're telling yourself? Which leads us to um expectations you have on yourself that you have decided to let go. So, medyo nabanggit nyo na yung mga iba in the previous,
Yeah.
in your previous sharings. Pero are there other specific things or expectations you've had on yourself na now you realize na it doesn't serve you anymore, so you have to let go of them?
I guess the whole expectation thing, yung I have parang once I get something, that's the only time that I'm gonna feel good. I was able to let go of that and it felt nice kasi parang I feel na I have to micromanage every single thing for my life to unfold.
Mm.
When in fact, life doesn't happen like that. I was watching yung Schitt's Creek, Netflix series siya. And sinabi nga din na life is but a strand of happy accidents. And these are sometimes you have accidents that we won't be able to avoid, not in our control. Pero they happen. You're not grateful that it happened. But for example, nagkaroon ako ng COVID before I left Philippines. I wasn't grateful that I had that, pero I used the time to be with my parents more.
Mm-mm.
Parang that kind of accident is not something that I wished for. I didn't want that to happen. But what else can I do to make myself feel better even with that circumstance? Parang I'm not always happy kasi when I received the news, I was down for like 3 days because I have a time I have to follow. So parang I gave myself the permission na mag-inarte muna. Humiga, parang manood ng
Tama.
kung ano. No, I think that's one.
Oo.
Expectations sa sarili ko, I can't be happy all the time. So I have to allow myself to feel these things.
Correct.
So I did. Tapos nang parang third, parang sabi ko, parang ano na, OA na tayo siguro. Okay ka naman. Okay ka naman. So, pwede ka nang, no, ihalubilo. Tatlo lang naman kayo. So, why not use the time to be with your parents na extend naman yung vacation mo for 2 more weeks. And thank God, hindi naman sobrang severe yung nangyari sa'yo. It was just mild. So you can still manage. So I think those are two things. Like for myself, I always try my best to acknowledge my emotion sa specific circumstance na nangyari. So if for example, sometimes I feel jealous of other people's successes, ganyan. I wanted to be happy for them, but at the same time, I wanted to question myself about these things. But I acknowledge that na parang, oh my God, you're getting jealous again. So I have to acknowledge that. And I think the moment that I acknowledge that, I can finally let it go. Kasi di ba what you resist, persist. So the more that it bottles up.
Motto namin.
Tama di ba?
What you resist persists. Yeah.
Kung ano yung hindi lalabas, it's gonna persist. And it's parang it's going to grow even bigger. So the fact that it's still small, just a little emotion, a tiny inch of sadness, I already acknowledge that. And then if I just want to feel bad all day, then I'm gonna feel bad all day. As long as, I mean, hindi naman the fact na may trabaho ako tapos di na ako magtuturo sa classical, that's a different thing. So like if it's vacation and I have the privilege to do that, I have the opportunity, then I'm gonna do that. Tapos if I can feel good at a certain moment, then I do that. I think that's my process of yung expectation for myself. I can't be happy all the time. So what should I do to be able to get there?
To be okay with not knowing everything that's gonna happen. And to take it moment per moment. Sobrang exage ng moment per moment, pero
Nice, that's true.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's true.
Kasi I'm the type of person na I like scheduling things to
Same.
the
Same.
last bit of the moment.
Mm.
Tapos so parang na-realize it's okay na you're clueless. And also to kasi at this point feeling ko alam ko na whenever I feel chaotic na parang messed up yung utak ko, it's when I lose my quiet time. So it always happens to me. Alam ko na yun na I think that's also self-awareness. Now, whenever I lose my quiet time, tapos parang hindi ako magko-quiet time na siguro mga isang buwan, mag-start na ako magdrama. Tapos all of the negative things, nakikita ko sila. Parang nananotice ko sila. Tapos laging nagsisink in na parang what's gonna happen to you in the future. Parang ganyan, what's gonna happen. Pero now, parang ang nice lang na minsan nagkakaganon pa rin naman ako. Actually, hindi minsan. Parang laging may ganon pa rin moments. Pero it's nice to stop and say na it's okay. Sige, balik tayo. Anong dapat lang mangyari ngayon? So ano yung moment ngayon? Ano yung dapat mangyari? So it gives me order. And also, yun, nabanggit ko na kanina, yung parang being hard on yourself na, alam mo yung feeling ko kasi lagi, when somebody asks me to do something, kunwari mag-lead ng meeting o kaya mag-MC, ang laging nasa utak ko, malalaman nilang hindi talaga ako magaling. Yun yung sinasabi.
Grabe naman, totoo.
Oo. Oh, that's always my line. Na parang I'm so scared na they would see na baka hindi naman talaga ako magaling. Kasi alam mo yung image, as you said, Kat, nung college, diba? Parang, I still have that image na parang feeling ng mga tao. Hindi naman sa hindi ako nagkakamali, pero parang feeling ng mga tao, always good at things. Oo, parang ganyan. Tapos, pero hindi nila alam, parang hindi nila alam, it takes a lot for me to to present.
To get there. Oo, to get there.
To get there. Yeah, to get there. Kasi it requires a lot of convincing na parang it's okay, you can do it na why are you thinking na
may pagsinghot na nagaganap.
Oo, yun na yun.
Yeah, I can relate to that, Patty, kasi ganun din ako na parang one of the things that I had to let go of, yung expectations ko of myself, na ganun din ako. I'm a to-do list person. Lahat ng mga activity ko in a day nakalagay sa isang calendar, ganyan. And I beat myself up at the end of the day if, for example, ang dami kong hindi na-achieve sa to-do list ko, or I feel bad about myself kapag meron akong mga activities in my calendar na hindi ko nagawa. Kahit na, for example, 10 yung to-do list ko tapos 8 yung nagawa ko. I still feel bad about the 2 things na hindi ko nagawa. Tapos parang feeling ko, it's a point against me. But now I'm starting to realize na I should tell myself na great job for doing 8 out of the 10. The 2 is okay. Parang yung 8 lang yung kinaya ng energy mo, and that's okay. Yung parang it's a process. And I feel like we should also forgive ourselves if it's taking us a long time to be okay with those things. Kasi it's a growth. Yung growth dyan, it's a process eh. Yung parang forgiving yourself, or parang saying, parang validating your own feelings. It's not something na, it's a change na hindi siya overnight na, okay, ngayon natutunan ko to, bukas, for sure magagawa ko siya. Hindi eh. It's a constant decision that you have to make every day. Kaya yung sinabi mo kanina na feeling mo, OA yung moment by moment. I don't think so. Kasi
Yeah.
in my previous vlog, nabanggit ko pa nga breath by breath eh. Kasi parang ano talaga, in each moment, meron ka mga decisions that you have to make, and that includes yun nga, yung forgiving yourself, being your own best friend. Yun nga, yung gentleness sa sarili, and those kinds of things. So yun, in general, tama yung sinabi ni Jeric na in general, we're just letting go of our expectations of everything. No, yung
Mm-mm.
parang slowly let go of the expectations.
Yeah.
So, right?
When you mentioned yung moment by moment, I was watching yung mga self-help vlogs kanina. And yung sinabi niya is, you have to be, how do you live moment by moment? You have to be intentional with what you're doing. If you're
I
eating
love
with
that
your,
word.
just eat with your friends.
Intentional.
Diba? It
Mm-mm.
parang our minds are always continuously working all the time. It's always going to panic. But try your best to be in the moment. And I think that's gonna help a lot. If you decide to, yun nga, like to eat with your friends, then be intentional with it. If you decide to just sit down and be quiet for a moment, then just sit down and be quiet for a moment. I think that's going to change a lot of things in you.
I'm reading actually right now yung Atomic Habits ni James Clear.
Oh,
If
I'm reading that.
you should read
Yeah.
it too. I feel like it's very transformative. Nasa chapter 6 pa lang ako, pero every page that I read, it's a truth slap na parang um, every day you should count your wins. Parang okay lang
Mm,
that your day is not perfect. It's okay if you're not a 10 out of 10 today, as long as mas marami yung wins mo kesa sa losses mo today. And that's okay. Alam mo yun, yung parang you don't have to beat yourself up. And then with everything that you're doing every day, you just have to know na this one worked for me, so I'll take this to the next day. Yung parang ganon.
mm,
So, yung mga hindi nag-work for me, I leave it behind. Or what are the things that I can improve? So, the losses that you had that day, hindi mo siya dapat i-count as something na you have to be sad about. It just has to be like an opportunity for learning. So
mm,
actually after yung previous episode ng the KJ Conversations, parang I have a friend who messaged me, parang told me, paano ba? Alam mo yun, tinanong niya ako how. Kasi siguro it appeared like after releasing that video, parang people would assume na I already have it all figured out. But
Mm-mm.
no, I don't. Okay, disclaimer, I don't have it all figured out. And yun nga, it's a constant process. So I'm starting with little things din. Kasi may mga tao yata that they expect the change to be radical. Yung parang, ito,
No.
pag naisip ko to, nagbago na yung buhay ko completely. Hindi naman siya ganun.
Mm.
What habits can we form that will help us to become more comfortable with letting go of expectations or certain things about other people.
mm. For me, one thing that I did, wait, nakamit pa rin ko. Di ba, I have a lot of expectations sa sarili ko. And
Oo.
where does that come from? It comes from social media, the pressure. So what I do when it comes to habit is before I go to bed and when I wake up, I don't check my phone, I don't check my social media because I want to feel good. I don't want to compare myself to anyone before going to bed. So I read a book. If I don't read a book, I watch a cute little film. For example, Ghibli films. I watch
Oo.
those. So something that I know is nice. I don't watch late at night yung mga mapanik pa ako sa dulo. So what I want, before going to bed, I just want to make sure that I feel good before going to bed. Kasi they say na your subconscious mind works the best when you're sleeping. And then when I wake up, I immediately drink water, tapos I meditate or just silent moments. And then sometimes I just play good music and dance. And then when I know that I'm already stable, that's when I try to check a little bit sa social media. And the comparison is actually less. I don't feel the need to prove to
Mm.
myself parang I'm successful because I'm already happy. after those steps. It takes a lot of time, but I don't wake up 5 in the morning. I don't force myself to do these things. Whatever feels right, I just do it. Tapos I go with it.
I'm also back to journaling. Talagang 2022, I'm claiming it. This is my year of being put together. And then na parang na I think it has also helped me be more clear-headed. Kasi yung the surrender and letting go, they require so much from a
Correct.
person. But I think they're achievable if you build yourself na yun yung mga certain things na need mo to let go and to surrender.
Mm-mm.
And I think yung discipline and yung willingness. Kasi in habit formation, you have to be willing first as well.
Yun, any final words na lang for the people who are watching this video right now?
My final words would be, I think they already know me. Final words would be, I still am an overthinker.
Oh my gosh.
But I used to be so cruel, so harsh to myself. As in, I critique everything that I'm doing, that I'm saying, even the things that I'm thinking, hindi pa nakakalabas. Like, sobrang harsh.
Mm-mm.
So, it's just a repetition, diba? If you can be the harshest critic to yourself, I think you can also be the most loving, the most understanding, the most gentle best friend to yourself. And I think that's
Yeah.
very important. I think a balance of both. Because you cannot just be so supportive to yourself. Now, what if mali na yung ginagawa mo, you're not aware, di ba?
Oo.
Parang, example, you're cheating in an exam and you're hyping yourself na, oh my God, ang galing-galing mo, nahanap mo
Oo.
lahat and ang galing mo mag-plagiarize. Definitely not that. So I think it should be a
Yeah.
balance of, I think just the last words, di ba? A balance of both of those things. For you to be able to identify who you really want to become in the future. So I used to be a very harsh critic to myself, but I'm happy right now that I'm so forgiving and I'm so gentle with myself.
We are coming from different journeys, pero you'll be surprised na there are intersections. Parang or may mga similar mga experiences. So it's nice to also have a safe group to share with. You don't have to have a lot of friends. Parang like just somebody you trust and you can share your thoughts with. That's nice. So I think it's nice to be self-aware talaga and intentional about it, but also do not pressure yourself into being the transformed person that you wanna be. Pero yun nga, I think that's where self-awareness comes in. Kasi
Oo.
na yung mga old habits natin na difficult to let go and to surrender and to expect on people, they don't disappear overnight. It's a
Correct.
process and you have to take that process and however painful that may be.
I am a control freak. Learning to let go of control. Alam mo yun? And it's going to be a journey of constant transformation. No one has it all figured out. So everyone is constantly discovering things, learning things, growing every single day. And it's okay if you're not there yet. So just in case you have goals right now, you have dreams that you want to achieve, there's someone you want to become. It's okay if you're not there, but just make sure that right now you are making inspired actions. Is that if that makes sense? Na parang little by little you're taking steps towards who you want to
Mhm.
become. So I learned a lot from you guys this evening. It was a very insightful conversation. Um, and I feel like we were able to hit everything that that I was expecting us to hit regarding expectations. And it's really comforting to know na parang as I'm going through this journey, there are other people who are also going through the same things. Because it happens to me too. So there are people out there definitely watching us right now who are experiencing the same things. And I'm sure they are equally thankful to have you guys, additional people, in the conversation that they can relate to or who can relate to them. It's nice to feel not alone.